Testing the audio. Listen, thanks for tuning in. I tried to do my pre-show testing, and the comments say it's a bit laggy today. It might just be the Hawaiian internet that we are forced to use here, but hopefully it's working now. We have much to discuss. Thank you for tuning in. I have a very special guest today, Mr. Ryan Thompson, who has been through the only other guy I've seen on the island that's been through some of the specific tactics that the local leftists here take when they find somebody they really don't like. And sir, that's been you this week. Would you tell us just a little bit about yourself? And
absolutely.
Yeah.
You ready?
I'm ready.
So yeah, I've lived in Puna, Hong Kong since 2016 and visited since 2008. And I've always seen these instances of a little bit of prejudice, and it's pretty common around here in Puna. A lot different than Oahu, like we were talking about earlier. You know, even though there's similarities, it is, you know, a little bit more mellow in Oahu for racial, you know, equality and stuff. Like,
well, I want to stop you real quick because the folks watching don't know. So I live on Oahu. I live in Waikiki, the place everybody knows. You live on the Big Island, which is actually called Hawaii by everyone else, but for us we call it the Big Island. It's farmland and beaches and such.
Yeah, really unique culture. And, you know, just as anywhere pretty much in Hawaii, except for maybe Oahu, whites are the minority here.
Yeah.
I think, you know, maybe Hawaiians are a little bit more of a minority, but we're pretty close to the Hawaiian population, and then there's Japanese, and, you know, it's a bit of a disparity between the mainland. It doesn't look the same as the mainland does. But we've always lived in other places like Mexico and Puerto Rico, and we've been the minority for a good part of the last 10 years. So this is compatible for us, where maybe other people may find it a little difficult.
Yeah.
Where will we go? And I'm a little stoned, bro.
Hey, it happens. You know, one more thing. Let me stop you. Could you talk a little closer to the mic or something? Your levels are really low, and some of the guys are having trouble hearing you.
Oh, sorry. It's because
that looks better.
My mic blocked.
That's why. Yeah. Yep, that's better.
Okay, so yeah, Big Island, rural, agricultural, very diverse, but whites are by no means the majority, and you know there is a little bit of racism going on. A lot of the Hawaiian Kingdom stuff takes place here in Big Island. So if you don't know about the Hawaiian Kingdom, it's a sovereignty movement, and it's based on genealogy and heritage and things like that. Pre-1793, or 1893, sorry, the overthrow of 1893.
Right.
So everything before that, they claim so many of their white people will be a part of this Hawaiian Kingdom, but it's pre-1893, but some of them classify it as just, you know, you're a part of it if you're Kanaka, otherwise, you know, you got no say. Hawaiians speak first and last, and everybody else can have their say in the middle. That's a common statement around here.
My experience is that they're very racial people. Like, you know, Richard Spencer's not a subtle man, but he wants a white country. These people want a ethno kingdom. That's the most right-wing thing I've ever heard of. But they don't look at it that way. But they are very serious and very bold about it. And it's not just like whites they hate. They take it to Asians too, which makes some of the other leftists unhappy. But it's entertaining.
Micronesians, especially, I would say, and I don't speak for everybody or anybody, but Micronesians, I would say, get the brunt end of things. They get really bad treatment.
Yeah, Micronesians are like, you know how in Europe all the white people are very anti-racist until you get them to talk about gypsies? That's kind of how it is in Hawaii for Micronesians. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, so another person that's been doxxed and harassed and had fictional stories told about was Dr. Ken Conklin. And he and David Zaya went back and forth for years. And I see even recently David Zaya disparaging him last year when he spoke at the Maui County Council. And he was like, oh, this guy's just a math teacher. He doesn't know shit. But he's actually got a master's degree in history, and he's taught Hawaiian studies at UH. And, you know, he's been here for a long time educating. He knows the Hawaiian language. Good friends with Kanaka Maoli, lots of Kanaka Maoli, just like myself. You know, I have a lot of good Kanaka Maoli friends. But he got harassed and threatened, and people up in his face, and all kinds of false accusations sent his way. Terrible shit.
Yeah, the false accusations are what I want to talk about, because the Hawaiian kingdom stuff is pretty amazing on its own. But it's of such a specific type of activist, and I gotta say, it is the Hawaiian kingdom people. It's more than just the sort of white woman leftism you see elsewhere, but they take it to a point that's really it's disgusting, and not in a political way. Like they've found me because I'm somewhat notorious for them, and just printed the most heinous things they can think of, like sucks cocks in hell when they find dead Marines I know. Just through my page, stuff like that. You know what I mean? They hate the whites, and they just love to rub salt in wounds. It's strange, but the specific behavior that I've seen them apply to you and me both is this making up of these entire, really detailed stories that include times and places and your whole life achievement that you had nothing to do with. Like, how do you come back from that? What they did to you is they made you the leader of the Boogaloo, either nationally or in Hawaii. Well, first of all, why would they do that if there even is a reason?
I think there is a reason. I go to the Jennifer Ruggles town hall meetings when she was county council. She's completely Caucasian, but she supports the Hawaiian Kingdom, and she was a council member for District 5.
Sure,
I used to go there and I used to educate them on non-racist approach to this. Like, I agree with you guys in a lot of ways, but let's not do this based on race. Let's do this with unity. Basically. That was kind of my underlying point, but I was at no time disrespectful. I had my cameras rolling because I know how they roll. I've proved this before with Ken Conklin. So I took my cameras with me and I started filming before I ever got to the event. And after I left the event, I was still filming, after I walked to my car. And then I've got this Susan Rose here. I guess she's still commenting. She's got a public post, so I don't mind.
Yeah, I want to talk about her real quick before we go on, because I'm looking at this right now. And this is what I'm talking about. So Susan, I don't know her, but she evidently knows you. What she did was she posted a picture of your house and your vehicle. It looks like with the license plate. Yeah, and with also not just your address, but like how to find your place. It's on the corner of this and that.
Yeah.
And I want to just read what she said about you when you calmly corrected this woman who was trying to get your family killed, because these people are violent. If you haven't seen the videos of white people getting their shit kicked in their own house, it happens. She says, when I was raising my children, I never endangered their lives by taking controversial stands, not even a bumper sticker, which is why she's doxing you. Perhaps you should rethink your own actions that are endangering them. This is the woman that posted directions to your house. I'm looking at it now. This is another level than even like Antifa posters anonymously on Twitter. Like, and they use their real names. That's also there ain't no hiding about this. There's zero accountability.
Exactly. And they posted so much about how to find me and my kids. They're taking pictures while my kids are out playing in the yard, like pedophiles would. It's so scary.
Yeah, and so, people think like you're kidding.
And
this is.
About defending. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm just getting worked up.
I said I talk about defending myself, and I don't mean it as a threat. I know it's a terrible, I would never want to take somebody's life, but when people threaten my very young children, they're very young, with violence, talking about throwing my family or me down lava tubes and all this, and showing where we live in very specific address and very specific directions, it's very scary. So I do, fight for the Second Amendment. I always have, ever since before I bought a gun. I only bought a gun in 2011 or 2010. For the first time. So I went like 34 years of my life with no guns. And I'm not this big, like, I'm going to run them up. Like, I'm not a bully. But, I just don't want to be left without if I need one. It's better to have more than not needed than needed not have it. And I'm starting to feel like more and more I need it. Like, with the threats on my life and massive doxing, 500 or 600 reshares on just one of these message boards on Google or on Facebook. One of these groups, and 550 shares on one of them, and 120 on another. And so we're getting so much traffic on this little, three-house road. Right? It's crazy.
Yeah, well, you don't get a gun in Hawaii. That's been outlawed first. Could I have you adjust your microphone again? You've gone really low again. But
sorry, is that?
Yeah, we're a bit better. We just about lost. Just some of the folks couldn't hear some of that stuff.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're much better now. So yeah, it's funny that you find yourself in this boat and you start to learn about events that you never knew happened, but that you made detailed plans to invade. Like, I'll start getting calls or texts one day. This has happened a few times. Baby, could you... Sorry, that kid's crying in the background. He's being loud today. Anyway, I'll get calls and texts. My phone will start to blow up. And it'll be some event, some leftist event that I've never heard of. And it's like, I guess I came there and tried to kill everybody. Or some event that I didn't I've never heard that doesn't exist. They said I made and it's happening here, and here's where to find me. Like, good God.
Shit.
Yeah.
I got stuff from Dianetic stuff, the L. Ron Hubbard Scientology.
Oh, yeah.
They signed us up for Scientology, or somebody did, and we started receiving books in the mail. Somebody paid $25 to send us books from Scientology of all things. Like, that's the wackiest stuff. I hate that kind of weird stuff. I know about L. Ron Hubbard and Dianetics and their weird, extraterrestrial belief system. Like, that's not my thing, but I think they're trying to paint weird, kooky beliefs on me or something. I have no idea why they
No, I'll tell you why. That's really devious. It's because the Scientologists will never leave you alone. If you go to one of their meetings in the 70s, I know people will still get their mail. So that's the rest of your life. That's pretty good. Yeah, but they do things like that. Like I personally, I don't call the cops as a matter of principle, but what was recently suggested to me is that you get in touch with the police and tell them that these things are happening to you, not to get them to smash your enemies, but so you don't get the cops sent to your house and they shoot you, because they're into swatting around here.
Somebody called, and they called me up. They immediately reached out to me. The cops did 3 days ago, and they said they're going to reach out to Big Island Bees and Big Island Popo Alert, the people that are, the groups that are doxing me. He gave the guy that's the administrator, I can't remember their names, he said, I'm going to reach out to him and see if they'll take the two posts down. So he said that somebody had put their officer's picture on that post in Big Island Popo Alert, I think. I'm banned from those places, so I haven't seen it. Yeah. But they say that they're posting police officers' photos on these lists, so they're probably doing it for that purpose, to associate me with that shit.
Right, it's absolutely wild. Like, these are tactics you really don't get away with, even in like Portland and shit. You can actually get in trouble for these things, these direct threats. But Hawaii, like, again, I don't call the cops, but if I did, it would be completely pointless. Like, I've had my address posted just dozens and dozens of times this month, and again, with directions, go get him, that kind of thing, because they found out, I'm running for office. But it's not good. Like, you have to look into self-defense.
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you. You're running for office, that's awesome.
Yeah, oh, you didn't know? Yeah, so I've been widely doxxed as the white supremacist who's running for office in Hawaii. I'm running for District 22, that's, Waikiki, for state rep. And it's, if you know about 22, that's Tom Brower, who is a Democrat, but he's only famous for taking a sledgehammer to homeless carts. So, he's that guy. Publicly, privately, he does it in his free time, which I'm not even denouncing. People have tried that before, but politics are not normal in Hawaii, and so I'm involved.
Oh. Well, that's what started. I think it's because I started petitioning for signatures for county council District 4. And so I got enough signatures for the wrong side of the island, and I never got a ballot. But since then, since I started doing the petitioning for the signatures, I've had way more hate traffic and, just absolute, trying to silence and stuff. Like, trying to threaten me out of here and scare me away. It's crazy.
Yeah, they really will. Like, it's rough. But, guys have it, like, I know right-wing people who live in places like Portland, and it's, the attitude of the average person is different. They'll be more universally hated, but I don't think that, I wouldn't say that. They do get people to come to their house and cut their tires and shit. It just seems that the Hawaiian activists are especially willing to go to the falsities. You know what I mean? Just they're sort of inventive in their fictions. Like, it's almost like reading a book or something about your life that you didn't write.
Well, they'll take snippets of truth. Like, they talked about my wife and I divorcing, and we talked about it in February and filed, but we never completed it. And they were like, oh, his wife hates him, he's, this and that, he eats his wife or something. She was saying all kinds of, somebody was saying all kinds of stuff. And we never got divorced. I was the plaintiff, she was the defendant, and we were just doing it because, we were changing directions in life, and then we decided to reconvene, and now we're back together. But all the wild stuff that they were taking off that one thing they found on the court, on the Hawaii court.
Yeah.
Made it out kind of so bold, talked about all these backstories that me and my wife share about all the, we don't get along, there's years or something domestically, I'm keeping her, or something,
Oh, yeah.
My wife would never say. She never has said.
Completely make it up.
She does.
So I'm putting something on the screen right now that you can't see because you're on the phone. I don't know how to do it, but I'll describe it because I'm sure you've seen it. This is the Aloha Aina Party, which is Hawaii's newest political party, and it's the Hawaiian Activist Party. Anyway, this one I found to be interesting because not only did they invent a story for you, they put me in it. They call, if I'm not mistaken, his running candidate on the Big Island, while his partner is the founder of Proud Boys Hawaii, is also a running candidate on Oahu. So apparently, we've united campaigns with yours that doesn't exist, and we're running as partners, which I don't know is a thing in any American politics. That's just not how that works.
Well,
It's interesting.
This is the first time I've ever spoken to you.
Yeah, we've never met, by the way. But in their minds, we have.
I maybe have sent you 3 or 4 messages. Nothing was about politics, about running, about supporting anybody. I mean, I would testify to that in court. You're not joined up in any way politically at all.
No, I didn't find this through you. You just kept showing up on social media, and I'm like, oh, I know how this goes. So I wanted to reach out and find out how you're doing. But I think one thing we didn't cover is the specifics of what they're upset about. All this is over a bumper sticker. A libertarian bumper sticker with names of people shot by police, and they're mostly like Black Lives Matter names and shit. But that became the white supremacist Hawaiian shirt movement. What?
Yeah. So the Boogaloo thing they say is a terrorist order, or a terrorist cell.
Uh-huh.
And these people who join up are white supremacists. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, did you actually read the 11 names? 7 were black, 1 was Hispanic, 3 were white. Did you read them? Then did you think to yourself, what do they all have in common? Because that's the real central key, is what they all have in common. And it's just about police overreach, it's about untrained police that need more training. You know, they've been trained for 22 weeks through police academy, they get on board the police department, and they have none of the training for violence mitigation or threat mitigation. And so I'm not 100% in favor of keeping the police funded necessarily if there's a better alternative. But I hate the idea that we're going to just fund the police. You know, that's it. And then who's going to be there, you know, to prevent people? Who's going to be there to regulate, you know, law?
Well, their
So,
people
like,
are.
which is crazy right now.
Get rid of the police doesn't mean get rid of the police. Yeah, they want leftist enforcers who understand their little social rules. And so when they say no police, they mean none you can call. They definitely mean that. But you and me are both, I think, the sort of men who would be just fine if there weren't police. Like, I don't call them. People completely frivolously call them on me a lot. That's a very common tactic. Most recently, a woman tried to call the cops on me because I wasn't wearing a mask outside. And they say things like, I work for the police, you know, they'll get you. And they're probably right. Like, you have to leave. They're not fucking wrong. But they know it. It's the Karen threat is not small. And, you know, today, I saw a new law I can support, which is some Democratic senator somewhere introduced legislation that says black folks can sue people who call the cops on them falsely. Now, obviously, it's racial grievancing, but you can't write in the law the black part. They just sell it that way. So if I could, it was $250. Basically, it's a citizen fine on other citizens that call the cops for no reason. You can just charge them $250. And I thought, fuck, man, I kind of love that. They do that to me on a weekly goddamn basis. I'd be rich. Yeah.
You know, no, I get that. So I actually got in touch with the police to file a report against a guy who was doxing me a year ago, so that I could petition YouTube to take the comments off because he was giving me the address of my kids.
Yep.
Once again, telling people exactly how to get to my house. So I'm not, you know, so free that I'm, you know, anti-cap or whatever they call them, anarchist capitalists or whatever they are. Like, I'm pretty libertarian, but I still see a need for government, but I just think that it needs to stay within Article 1, the enumerated powers. Like, I'm very constitutional, so, you know, they talk about the 16th Amendment, the General Welfare Clause, but they don't consider that there's a part of the Constitution that constrains that, and that's, you know, Article 1, Section 8, talking about the enumerated powers, the overreach of government, like they're constrained. And that's what the Constitution was made for, was to constrain government, not the other way around. So we're going to assume constraint, we're going to assume it on the end of government, not on the end of people. And then unless it's explicit and it says, you know, thou shalt not kill or whatever, you know?
Yeah, if we could stick to the Constitution, but I mean the Constitution is a dead document as far as America goes, unfortunately, and much more so in Hawaii. That's a bigger problem that we can solve.
I think you and me probably agree. I would say probably on the non-aggression principle, and I think that's what the Constitution really defines. You know, and I think people can misinterpret it, but there is good checks and balances for the United States. I think that the United States has a decent system. But I'm not behind it right now. Like I myself could be floating in the ocean and probably, enjoy my freedom. We've done that. We've sailed across the Caribbean and the Pacific, and we love sailing for that reason. Total autonomy.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? There's no other feeling. When I got out of the Marine Corps, the first thing I did was I got on a yacht. And people don't know this, maybe you know this, but you can just get on yachts. The one I was on cost $1,000 a night. But I steered it for the captain and paid nothing. So I just, steer the boat at night, which they don't want to do. All you got to do is charm a captain, and you can travel the world. And to be out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, or in your case Pacific, and there's nothing as far as the eye can see or the brain can comprehend, and the storm is coming in, it's a uniquely peaceful feeling that I think everyone should do, and you probably can. It's not prohibitive to you.
I agree. It is a great experience, absolutely. It really lets you learn about yourself. It's awesome.
I'd love to do a travel like this again.
Nobody's perfect. I'm not going to claim to be perfect. It's been 20-something years since I had any criminal offense. I used to smoke a lot of pot. I have 3 pot tickets on my record. From 20 years ago, I served 8 months in jail. There were misdemeanor charges.
That's just libertarian credentials. Come on.
Right? So they wouldn't let me in the military. I actually tried to join the military, and they said no because I was uncontrollable. But I passed my ASVABs very high. And they wanted to recruit me from 3 different branches. I was all about it. I wanted to get my GI Bill. Wanted to do something with my life. I had a pretty, non-existent, existence before. I just, kind of lived and smoked a lot of pot. I wanted to do something better with my life. So tried to join the military. Failed. Went on and did something great. Me and my wife had 4 kids, seen 12 countries. We've had 10 businesses, 14 houses we fixed and flipped, and we've done pretty good. So military would have been great, but I'm glad that I had the freedom to figure it out myself.
Indeed. I mean, I relate to that, man. I had a similar life until I joined the military at a later age, in my early 20s. It took me like 2 years to get in because I had to get a lot of waivers too. I lived a bit of a life before all that. But yeah, I did get in and I got out now. Then you and me both have made a life in Hawaii, which is so goddamn hard to do. You'll see it. People want to show up here, I follow my dream, they get divorced, whatever. They come here with no plan, and this place just spits them out within a year. Like, it's not easy. I think it's easier to make it in New York or whatever.
Yeah. I was lucky I made friends before I got here. It's hard. It really is, man. It's hard to find your niche, and it's hard to find a way to make money. Like, there's so many leftists pushing jobs away. And these sovereignty people are one of them. That's the problem that I specifically have with the sovereignty movement. Their racial thing, that's their business. If they want to be that way, I don't
really care. It's their deal.
Yeah, I don't care at all. But it's just like, don't push out, good stuff. Like the TMT, King Kalaluka, is it?
I'm not sure about that.
Kalakua.
Yeah.
Well, so King Kalakua, King Kamehameha III, I believe, he was the one that wanted the astronomy here. He's the one that wanted to fund it.
Oh, that's true, yes. That was 1920 something, and Hawaii was, they had electric lighting in Hawaii before it was in New York. Like, he was very focused on technology, and indeed he tried to bring the telescope here before anything, just because he thought science was cool. He was very infatuated with the West, which from the moment Westerners got here was the truth. King Kamehameha, he said, "Oh, you have guns? Yeah, give us the Bible too. It's fine, whatever. We don't have written language. We're using this shit." And what he did and conquered their islands immediately. He thought it was fucking awesome, and couldn't be more pro-Western. Now we've completely changed, but that's a recent development. Hawaii voted 96% for statehood in the 50s, and the 4% that voted against it were fearful of the Japanese owning everything. That's the reason. Now, since the 80s rolled around and the college has wrecked everybody's train of thought with indoctrination, that's when it changed.
Yeah, 1978 was a real tipping point. Everywhere forward of 1978 has been very sectional, tribal. Very tribal is how I would call it in these islands. And
It's
that's a
literally,
little,
yeah, there's little tribes involved. But, the tribes are interesting because you'll get guys coming here from, like, Samoa or Tahiti, and they get involved with these Native Hawaiian politics. Like, bro, you came from further than me.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't have a lot of history here either, but I love this place, and I love my ohana, the people we've met that we've brought into our lives, and I don't want to change it. I'll never change it if I don't, if I have the choice, I will keep myself here.
It is a small number. People are fairly welcoming here. It's no North Carolina as far as politeness goes, but a lot of people do settle in Hawaii. Like weirdo people. Every cult that's ever existed pretty much comes here at the end. It's a place for eccentrics in a lot of ways. Like, we just kicked the last one out there because, they angered the Native Hawaiians. There was a sort of a black supremacist cult. Like, we was kings, they came here, and the dude made a video and said we were the original Hawaiians, and everyone lost their shit. The Native Hawaiians, which honestly, I get it, that would make me mad too as a Native Hawaiian when they come steal your history, and so they kicked him out under a quarantine pretext.
Right, true, yep. Now they mixed it up with me. They were saying, well, if these guys are here, then maybe they're just all here to start trouble. It was about the same time I brought my car here that they started this whole thing with the cult, so it was very racist. Did you see them? They were using the N-word, all like 50 of them in that comment section, and then the one guy was live with him. Showed his face and everything. He was totally belligerent about it. N-word this, N-word that. You're an N-word.
Oh yeah, they don't care. Like that's part of the culture here. It's just not PC. They have no concept of this Western idea of PC. Like Polynesian dudes have lived here forever. They don't give a fuck. Like good God, I had one of my other jobs here was I drove the medical van because everyone gets trips to the hospital through state insurance. Basically, it's free transportation for homeless people is what it boils down to. But everybody would go, and a lot of Native Hawaiians who had dialysis and whatnot would go. And I like talking to people. People like me. I like them. We always get to talking. But the shit they would say, like you don't hear that in Alabama, and they'll say it to my face, like after they find out my wife is black or something, like then they're saying it more, and it's just fucking funny to them. It's fucking funny to me too, but it's different. It's a total different concept of what you can say than anywhere else in America.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a culture shock for sure. That part of it is for sure the most shocking thing in the culture for me. But on the other hand of it, you've got the people that are so soft and nice and pleasant and welcoming and sweet and warm. Like, your cousin, your brother, your sister, like these are the kind of people you want to be around.
Yeah.
But then you've got the other side of it, of people that are disadvantaged financially possibly, or just have been taught in school that America's the bad man that took Hawaii away, or the big bad boogie guy that took Hawaii away from everybody. And that's not something that was shared at the time as much as they say it was, and it's not that much shared now. It's just a vocal minority, very vocal minority of people that are doing that. And it's making it look like it's a really hostile place. But Hawaii is so absolutely loving. Like, I really can only melt here. I love it. It's the peace that I feel in Hawaii.
Yeah, I've had a pretty good time. I don't mean to make it sound like a wasteland. There is anti-white, anti-Americanism, and it comes from the college mostly. Like, they give them false hope. I was in these classes where they say things like, we'll kick out all the tourists, and they bring Asians into it. It's like, surprisingly, they kick them out too. And this is like the teachers, you know what I mean? They're very direct. And I start to ask, because, I'm the fucking asshole Hallie in the class, and I just like stirring shit up. I get it, kick me out. But what are you going to do, like, next? Like, how do you make money? This is 100% funded by tourism and the federal government. Like, you live off that. That's just math. And then they say shit like, we're going to fish. Like, that's it? And then there's no more to it. We're going to plant taro, which is a way overstated thing now. What that's like, it's just, it's a root that's not particularly nutritious, but they used to grow it back in the day. And as a sort of a racial narcissist thing that's going to solve all their problems. Like, they're not serious people, but it causes serious problems.
I agree. No, they really kind of tip the balance on that a little bit. Like, I agree with some of the sustainable living. Like, that's got to happen. We've always had grows and stuff. Like, we used to grow weed in Washington and stuff like that. In California and Maine, so we always had a garden. But they neglect so much of this growing season. 265-day growing season. All this big land on the Big Island. And the local politicians are corrupt. They're not allowing hemp to come through.
Oh, you're getting a little bit quiet in the microphone again. I'm losing your sound.
Oh,
Yep.
oh, sorry, but yeah, the industrial hemp crops and the agricultural, the whole agricultural society. I think that they're right on with that. They just need to open up those laws. That's the big problem I see with the influence of the U.S. with that whole, Harry Anslinger stuff that's still resonating. It's still out here too. People are still afraid of weed and still afraid of having a sustainable society for some reason. That they neglect the agricultural part of Hawaii and they put it all into big, huge businesses like Hilton and all these tourist businesses that are just really bad for Hawaii and bring people in and people are littering the beach and all this. And they push away astronomy. Astronomy is the second most productive industry for TV in Hawaii. They push away all these things instead of having agriculture and telescopes and very low impact businesses. They continue to fight against those, and then the void that's open fills in with tourism.
Well, let me stop you real quick because the people don't know about the telescope here. There's in the 1960s we built some telescopes on top of Mauna Kea, which is this very high volcano, dead volcano in the middle of the Big Island, Hawaii. And the reason is that nowhere on Earth even comes close to having the clear view of the night sky. It's got to do with the height and the atmosphere, right? Second place is in Chile, up in the mountains. So this has been such a boon for science, and it's been a boon for the local economy since the 60s. It's huge, and Japan has telescopes in all these countries. It's like the International Space Station on Earth. But in the past couple of years, the college has started teaching that the telescope is a symbol of white supremacy. So the new one they're building is it's not built anymore. For 11 years they've stalled this project, and it's this hugely embarrassing thing in the scientific community. But it's literally for people. They just make up stories where this mountain had great spiritual significance, and that it's a lie. It didn't. Archaeologically, they walked around it because it was a giant mountain. What they did do is they cut their children's umbilical cords and they threw them at the base of the mountain. Now that's real history. I don't think that's that consequential for Hawaiian history, but they don't talk about that.
They did have that quarry up there, the rock quarry. So it was used for industrial purposes for 500-600 years. They would get the good hard stone to make axes and knives with. And so it's the AZ something, I can't remember how it's spelled, but it's the rock quarry that was up there that was massive, and they used it for hundreds of years. But now it's like telescopes are so bad for whatever. I've seen what you said about the white supremacy thing too. That's so silly.
Yeah,
I've seen that several times.
Well, there's as far as politics and examples go, there's basically two perfect examples of leftist scumbaggery. One is the most obvious. You have a limit 10 for a gathering, but if you're Black Lives Matter, you have a limit for 100,000, right? That's a real eye-opener for you. But the other one that I've always used is this telescope, because it is pure anti-science. Like, they will preach against the idea of science as Western fuckery. It's absolutely insane. So you get these fucking white nerds who with their I love science, I love soy, I fucking love science. You know that website that people go nuts for. And I love to drop it in there like, so we've canceled science. You cannot build the world's most important telescope. It has stopped, and they're trying to tear down the ones that are already there, physically tear them down, because superstition. Like, it is pure religious objection to this, right? Now, if it was a Christian group saying you can't build a telescope because we don't want you to see Jesus hiding behind the planet, that wouldn't be taken seriously. But if it's, you're going to offend my spirit, or whatever it is, the umbilical cord that's left there, it's ridiculous. Like, and they don't know what to say. Like, I don't get answers back on that one. When you get ignored, you know you've made a point, these people.
I've talked a lot about it. We've got a group called Support the 30-Meter Telescope on Facebook, and we've talked a lot with the Kanaka. Some of them are for it. Kalepa Babayan.
Oh, a lot of Native Hawaiians love it. They don't all get into this shit. Yeah.
There's a very small minority. They make it look bigger because they're both very, very vocal. And that's what I was trying to say, is that this isn't really a hostile place. It's slightly hostile. There's just a few very crazy people that do the violence and the threats and the intimidation. The rest of people are chill. I love this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, people get that vibe. How can you be depressed in Hawaii? How can you possibly be upset living here? It's crazy.
It'll get you down, especially when you got to pay taxes or buy milk or get in the internet. There's things to depress you around here.
That's true. No, I agree. Yeah, I was going to say about Ron Paul, like about this collectivism. Ron Paul said this once, racism is simply an ugly form of collectivism. the mindset that views humans strictly as members of a group rather than individuals. And so when people like Kalepa Babian, he's a cultural practitioner, he's an advisor to the University of Hawaii Board of Regents, but he's the guy that sailed on that big Polynesian ship. I can't pronounce the name of it. The Holy anyway, I can't pronounce
They built a replica ancient transportation boat. It's really cool stuff, yeah.
And he was like, the guy to go to for, he's reached the level, the title of Puao, I believe, which is the high, like a naked eye navigator, what they would get as a cultural practitioner. He got this high rank as this cultural practitioner, and people listen to him, and he's in favor of the TMT. But this small minority, they will call them racial names like coconut and donkey and just horrible things. And he loves the culture. He's from the culture, and he goes all the way back to the ali'i in this culture, the chiefs. So Kalepa Babian and many of the other Polynesians get such racial terms sent their way just because they disagree with the mob. Is what I call them a lot of the times. Is the sovereignty mob.
Well, they are very racist, but they have stronger bonds than race, and that is dissension. That's what they don't put up with. I mean, it being, black won't save you if you go to the Afro Studies department and say some shit they don't like. It's just how they are. It's unfortunate that they're hypocrites at so many levels.
Yeah, well, what you were saying about gun rights and stuff, or not having them here, it's people can own them, and you just can't carry them. Using them is, a very restricted thing. So there's a guy named Richard Young in the Supreme Court, and he's fighting to get the ability to carry. He's a veteran, no criminal history.
Yeah, I know his case.
The Supreme Court. So I actually don't have any firearms. I have airball, and so as far as like taking care of business, there is riot shots, there is pepper balls, things like that are not illegal. So I carry stuff like that just because I've got 4 kids and now I've got shit coming down my street. But it really, you really give up a lot of your rights here. So I would say, as opposed to all the great things that are about Hawaii, the two drawbacks are the gun laws, the Jones Act, and the racism that is very prevalent here. And like even Laird Hamilton, the famous surfer, he made a whole video on this. He did an interview 2 years ago talking about growing up here. He was born and raised, but he's as white as you and I, and he was beat up the whole time he was growing up.
Oh yeah, you get beat going to school here. Like you can't send your white kids to public school. No, I was a Marine Corps sent me here, but I got a kid now, so if he's gonna go to school in Hawaii, like I don't have money, frankly. So the private schools here are very expensive, and I don't think they're even any safer for kids. Like it's a concern. It's not good for white kids, which mine ain't, or my kid. That'll get him in trouble. But he's obviously not Asian or Hawaiian, and that's the overwhelming population here. That's what, if you're not that, you're different.
That's true. My kids have done really good here. I'm really proud of them. I have a lot of friends, but
Yeah.
I see that in public schools. Public schools are treacherous here. So they have really bad reputations, and they're one of the lowest ranks in the country for education. Public schools are
Yeah,
terrible.
they suck too. Like that's a known thing.
Yeah, the SPLC, and I don't reference that much because they're very one-sided. They usually side black and brown.
Oh, I know where you're going with this,
the
though.
SPLC, yeah, no, they say the same thing with the SPLC, where usually they're not on the side of people with violence sent their way that are white, but they're on the side of showing the racism and violence here in Hawaii. So on their page, they're really explicit about it. There's a lot of shit that goes on here.
Yeah, I invite our viewers, go Google SPLC in Hawaii. You're going to find one article that is very uncharacteristic for the SPLC, and it is a few years old. I don't think they'd write it now, where they talk about how the Native Hawaiians have all these violent incidents toward the whites. And it's great because when people bring me up on the internet, they always cite the SPLC, right? Because they don't like me. And when I went public with my run for office, the SPLC quoted me in their article and everything. So people love to do that. But then they start bitching. Other Hawaiian activists will say, "Oh, you can't trust the SPLC. They said we do this shit," and it's really kind of wonderful. I don't even get involved in those conversations. I just let it go. But it's a great article that I like to drop in and just see what happens.
Well, this whole Boogaloo thing, so I don't know much about it. I know it's a breakdancing movie from the 1980s. I know it's a shitlord meme. People have drawn it to draw attention, and I know that it has a lot to do with Second Amendment rights. But now they're saying because Wikipedia
just a meme. I gotta tell you, man, my giant brain, my giant incredible brain, can predict media memes. And I saw the boog coming way in advance. Like I knew that would be one, and then it comes. And in 1 week, every major media has that article: Hawaiian shirt, white supremacist, blah blah blah. And then it boils down to local media. Where here in Hawaii, Civil Beat did the article twice this week. And then after that, I saw this coming too. Juneteenth, I said that's gonna be the next media meme. I need to start writing this down because I've got such a huge brain. And I said the Juneteenth will be the next media meme. And now, in the past 2 days, every major media, here's a federal holiday, blah blah blah. So I'll call the next one when I think of it. But could you not see the Boogaloo thing coming, internet? Like I knew where this was. I do kind of love it though because the Boog thing. I've been in these Boog groups since it became a thing, right? But I watched them change from legitimate right-wing people with some real anger, as they say, the angry white men they talk about, and then it morphed into this very soft sort of libertarian who just hates cops, and that's like the edgiest thing they'll say, right? And then they started, when these riots hit, they lost their minds. They say, this is it, this is our Boston Tea Party, and they go out there in pretty large numbers in Hawaiian shirts to protect or support the Black Lives Matter protesters, but that's the first time they were visible, and that's what launched the meme. Then the media says, "Here's the white supremacists," and they're all so shocked. Like, how can they say this about us? And I start getting in there. I'm like, "Hey, bro, they're a private business. Remember when you told me that 8 times? Fucking don't say what they can and can't say. Google's knocking you down. Private business." Oh, it's just it's beautiful. I love to see it, man. They just suck the Black Lives Matter cock. And then the media comes in for the other side. They deserve it. Anyway, you're not the president of Boogaloo, though. That's why I say these things to you. But you are known as the president, the CEO of Boog.
Wait, who is the CEO?
Other than you, I've never seen anyone try to pin it on an individual except you. Now, there was some dude who killed somebody who used to be in the Air Force or something. And he wrote in blood on the cop car, Boog or something. Now, that's some real autism in action. But even they don't try to say he's the leader, He's still just a foot troop. You really took the cake.
Oh, good Lord. It's because I have a nice car, they said. I see this over and over, that the car is so nice and he must be running shit. I got that car for $5,500. I paid less for that than this Highland gear I got. But because I got it on the main band, I got a hell of a discount.
It's good. You're the only guy I've seen ever doxed on this level over a bumper sticker. I'll say that. Now, when they do it to me, I've tried a long time to intentionally stir these people up. I have done that. I get why they don't like me. But you were just kind of hanging about. You just put a sticker on your car.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we've gone back and forth for years on this sovereignty thing, so there's some of that. I think it's just there's a resentment there. It's gone back and forth, so it's stupid. I support most of the sovereignty movement stuff, all with the racism. I love most of it, and I see their points. I don't agree with the history. Some of the history they use, Queen Liliuokalani was overthrown with the help of the U.S. military, and I don't agree with that. The evidence doesn't show that.
That's a very detailed story that I can't get into now, but it's not really either side sells it. You know what I mean? I see you have a balanced view on that, so you probably have exactly the correct view. But Hawaii, it's the same shit. Hawaii was stolen, and America was stolen, blah blah blah. Not really. Although there was some fuckery, of course, with large businesses. That's to be expected. That's what large businesses do. Where was I with that? Yeah, so it's strange times here. It's going to get stranger. We haven't seen any Boog action in Hawaii. Despite you being blamed for everything, the rest of America's on fire, but Hawaii is just as chill as ever. We don't have political riots here, and I don't think we ever will have a political riot.
Nah, I don't think so either.
People don't care, basically. Yeah, but now I think we will have riots here. That's an option if the supply lines are ever interrupted. I mean, we got a day's worth of food on these islands. People will get real weird real quick.
We have 3 weeks of food at the most.
I don't believe that. Yep, I don't believe that, and I'll tell you why. Because when the hurricane came, I saw those stores get cleaned out in 4 hours and people started to lose their shit. I think that if things went to shit here in any real way, they'll go quickly. I mean, shit. We held it together pretty good during the nuke alarm. I don't know if you were here for that.
Yeah.
I was
here for Kilauea. It was crazy. I guess I wasn't here for the nuke alarm. I was here right after. I was here for Kilauea. I was here for the after effect of that, directly after.
People were upset. I was upset. I got woke up at 20 in the morning. I was awake, but I was still in bed. And my phone was like, doing a weird fucking shake. So I look at it, emergency alert, thinking it's not supposed to rain today. The flash flood is what I usually get. And I see incoming missile, not a drill. Fuck, man. So, because crazy boo president prepper that I am, I have like a vague plan for these things. And what I always told myself I'd do in the case of a nuclear attack is get as drunk as possible. The reason being, if there's alcohol in your system, gamma rays affect you less. The only people that survived Chernobyl were the firemen because they were drunk as fuck. So they actually made it out all right. That's true. But I didn't. I lost my shit. I did not down the vodka stash I had. And I left my very valuable vodka stash. I ran to Waikiki, which I was living right near at the time. And I grabbed my wife out of work. And my plan was to try to get a boat. Just get one. Because if you're getting nuked, you're not going to be on land. Like, that's not good. So I figured just drift as far as possible and then hope for the best, probably going to die. And in the half hour this took, they finally said, it's okay, you're not going to die. But no one knew. And people were looking to other people. When I ran, people were like, bro, why are you running? And I say, you know why. And they're like, oh, shit, brother. Like, people were scared.
Was that January of 2018, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, I came right after. I saw the fallout. People were still posting in the newspaper all of the, possibilities of failure and death and destruction. That was crazy shit, man.
It was mad. I mean, I was annoyed. Like, so the dude who did that was a guy. I don't know if he's like physically like retarded, but he has some mental stuff going on, and he'd been disciplined many times for trying to do this. Like, he was trying to make this nuke alarm go off. Do you know that? So he kept getting disciplined. But they didn't move him because he couldn't tell the difference between training and real. Like, it was a mental thing with him. He didn't know what was real and what was not, and that's why that happened. They always just kept him on a short leash, like whatever his name is. That his name's not public. Call him Phil. Like, Phil, for fuck's sake, you sit here and get paid. Don't touch the computer, which is very common for Hawaii government jobs. So when he nuked Hawaii, he didn't get fired. He's still employed. They moved him to apartments. That's the real story, which is so fucking incredible to me.
Oh my God.
And that's why I'm optimistic about Hawaii. I'll tell you why. Because everyone says we got the highest unemployment in the nation. Dude, everyone is either on a government job that's still paying them or they're on welfare that's paying them more. When we have to go back to work, it's going to snap back into place pretty quickly, all right? I'm optimistic about that.
Yeah, I think you're right. No, people aren't too worried here. I see people living their life. I mean, I don't see a lot of panic yet. So I think we're going to be all right.
Yeah, exactly. There's no red lines. We'll be all right. But it does afford people an attitude they shouldn't have where they, we don't need tourists ever again. Like, I hear that shit. Because you're getting paid. Like, you're supported by the state. That's the only reason you can say that. People are out of work here. Like, when the lockdown first hit, I was in trouble. My job quit paying like that. Like, I've since recovered, but people who work for the government who are staying at home, they're just nasty. They're like, oh, no, you have to wear a mask. I'll call the police if you don't, and don't let any tourists or anyone in ever. Like,
yeah, the quarantine thing, they have a group of people that are locals that snitch on their neighbors.
Yeah, well, they snitch on white folks largely. They identify Halleys without masks. It's bad. It's the busybody culture of Hawaii compares to nowhere else in America. I parked my car the opposite way in the street, not in the way, just turned the wrong direction, and a dude came and snapped my windshield wipers off and left a note saying the car can't face this way, it annoys him. And that's normal here. Yeah, it's just, I get the cops are called on everything. I smell weed, call the cops. It's weird, man. Nowhere else is like this that I've ever seen.
Yeah. No, it's overhyper. People get way bent about little things. Yeah, that whole quarantine thing. Turning in, like my friend Lynette, she got turned in for being on the beach too long, and her son got resisting arrest and all this other stuff. Did you see all that?
Yeah, that's
go
to the beach, go to jail, go walk 1,000 in Waikiki where I have to fucking listen to your bullshit out my window, and the cops escort you. Those of you watching, this is your future. If you don't live in a city that's like this already, when they say abolish the police, they're still going to be there, but the changes are coming. That's what they mean.
We've got, in the place of the AR-15, we put a sign that says forourrights.com. So this is for the lawsuit that's to reopen Hawaii. So I figured that was...
Alright, so since this post is public, I'm not friends with this person. This is a public post. It's in public domain. She is making this public, and she is spreading around rumors and misinformation. And I just wanted to address that really quick. So Susan Rosier, she's talking about Boogaloo. Big Island Thieves regarding Boogaloo has received a lot of interest and many comments. The vehicle pictured in that post at that residence in Nanavali on Forest Road. So she gives a picture of my house. We're one of 3 houses on this road, so it's obviously easy to find. And pictures of my vehicles, and also people have been coming by and taking pictures of my children. So that's what's concerning to me, and that's one reason why I favor the Second Amendment, to be able to protect my family. So, paintball them assheads, the Rippers will target those vehicles, totally leave them gun freaks alone. Hook them up with Nature Boy, seems like good balance. That is exactly what I've been thinking. Too bad Carbonation is currently on lockdown. Nature Boy pedo needs a local group to take him under the lava tour. So lots of threats or idle threats. Neighborhood, geez, I knew for a long time we are a magnet for crazies from around the world, but wow. None of that shit in Puna or Kua areas. I heard stories about Hawaii and Hell Angels back in the mainland in Cascade. You mean Cascade? Cascade is like a waterfall. Yeah, I heard stories like a long time ago. Now I don't think they bother to send anyone back, just disappear. Lots of lava tubes, huge ones. So here she is threatening my family's life. Many Puka lava tree park I heard all over. LA built one. That's unique and scary to think about, Hawaii. Stay good for goodness sake. Another cult. Greg Owen, he just asked to join Hawaii politics. She wouldn't let me in Hawaii politics, apparently. Am I to understand I actually haven't, I don't believe I've even known that group exists, but maybe. Anyway, am I to understand that there are 2 different groups moving to Hawaii to start a civil war here? Anybody cared to enlighten me? There were Proud Boys. They pushed a lot trying to get people to sign up as Republicans. They first appear in Puna, moved on to Honolulu. I know one is still there because he is running for some office over there, has some established residency, but one of them tried to make trouble a few times, was quickly put in their place. They didn't get too far in Oahu either. These people were totally ready for them. They're a political group. The new group calls themselves Boogaloo Boys, dress in colorful shirts and describe Hawaiian shirts as described Hawaiian shirts. The leader is here on Oahu. There's a leader of the Boogaloo Boys. This is a meme, people. Proud Boys, now if you look these guys up, they're mostly Polynesian, right? They're mostly Kanaka Maoli. Here in Oahu anyway, but there's probably 20 of them, I don't know, according to these reports. So to say they're white supremacists is pretty funny. Black guys, gay guys, they're all part of the Proud Boys. I actually don't know any Proud Boy. I'm about to go on live with a guy named Nick Oakes, and he knows the Proud Boys over in Oahu. I've never met any of them. I've never spoke with this Nick Oakes, on the phone before, so this will be the first time. We're just going to have a chat. But, yeah, I don't know any Proud Boys on the mainland either. Guaranteed, you'll never find anywhere an authentic picture of me anywhere with any Proud Boy or any so-called Boogaloo Boys. This is like saying that anybody who does horrible, evil things with Black Lives Matters is, making everybody the same. Like, you can't judge the book by one person, especially if it's an unorganized group. You can't even filter it out. Like, say there's somebody out murdering police. Apparently 120 police have been hurt and 5 have been killed during these Black Lives Matters protests. And you can't say just because a Black Lives Matter protester killed a police officer and had a BLM shirt on that makes all Black Lives Matters terrorists. That's absolutely wrong. And so this is where I posted 3 hours ago. I said, you are all looking at serious charges of cyberstalking and cyber harassment. This post illustrates a violation of the law perfectly. Cyberstalking is a criminal offense under American anti-stalking and slander and harassing laws. A conviction can result in a restraining order, probation, criminal penalties against the assailant, including a citation needed. Cyberstalking specifically has been addressed in recent U.S. federal law. For example, Violence Against Women Act, passed in 2000, made cyberstalking part of the federal interstate stalking statute. The current federal anti-cyberstalking laws found in 47 U.S.C. 22340. There remains a lack of federal legislation to specifically address cyberstalking, leaving the majority of legislation up to the state. A few states have both stalking and harassment statutes that criminalizes threatening and unwanted electronic communication. The first anti-stalking law was enacted in California in 1990. There were 50 states to soon pass anti-stalking laws in 2009. Only 14 of them had laws specifically addressing high-tech stalking. Anyway, Hawaii is one of them. So notice to cease and desist, and this is what I posted, just my rebuttal to their claims about whatever, the white supremacy stuff, the Proud Boy stuff, the gang stuff, the affiliation, the membership. Like, there's no membership for Black Lives Matter. Like, you can't just go sign up and become a member, a full-paying member, unless I'm wrong. But you certainly can't for this Boogaloo meme, this Boogaloo meme. You can't just be like, oh, okay, I'm going to fill out an application and pay my dues. Anybody can say Boogaloo. So some freaking breakdancing show from the 1980s called Breakin'. I think it was in Breakin' 2. I said, and then I gave them some responses. I made this, and this is about, the Big Island with missing children, child trafficking, and strange situations. Talking about people coming by and taking pictures directly of my children because of these people directing violence towards our house and giving our address out. So I have posted my video responses, just me stating my case and my opinion. Take it or leave it. Let's have a discussion. I made this response to an earlier than that too, and this is just me showing all the names on the back of the car right after they doxed me and all that. So Misty says, thanks for the videos. I watched them both. I'm also married to a Native American and have a son with him. Everything you said in your videos resonates with me. Aloha. That was very nice. I said thanks. One thing Hawaiian culture and I have in common is genealogy. I have chased all over the world learning about my culture. History tends to get less and less vibrant as you go back further and further, but I have made I have made a lot of effort to keep good documents and pass on to the next generation. I have video blogs of my family and all 4 kids visiting 12 countries together. Hawaii is our most favorite thus far, and this is the 2 websites, our travel website and my genealogy website. I said, much mahalo for your kind words. And then I said, about the Where's the Map blog. I said, in the Where's the Map blog, just documentation of our family's journey in the world. We love and respect all people and ideologies unless the ideologies violate the NAP, the non-aggression principle. Basically, live and let live. But I also believe in self-defense of my ohana. And then I posted another cease and desist right here. So I've described the law and I've said twice, cease and desist, and I've got it one more time here. Now this is let me just see. This is Susan, the one that's posting all this shit, and this is her first response to me, and I've answered all of them. She said, you were just full of incorrect statements, including being wrong of historical facts, yet professing your own opinion as fact. No, I've got my own opinion, you've got your own opinion. I believe David Tsai's facts are wrong, and I think other people have proven it. Credible researchers like Dr. Kenneth Conklin, you can look his stuff up. He has totally deflated Dr. David Tsai's BS about history. And I asked him a good question about, hey, if these laws didn't exist at the time of annexation, then how can they retroactively apply somewhere? And David Tsai didn't give a really good answer for that, so I'm still waiting for that answer. She says sovereignty. Oh yeah, this is where she makes an accusation. She said, one, at Jennifer Ruggles' meeting, you were the one harassing through the window. Or was it another of your group wearing those dark shirts, Republican Party logos? That wasn't me. I don't have any of those. I've never been a part of the Republican Party, and I can tell you that as a fact. You can't find it anywhere. Guessing that you don't remember me, but I sure remember you following me around trying to get me to listen to your political opinion, on which every party should be long to 5 times you approached me, and 5 times I told you I'm not interested in your politics, views of U.S. politics. Finally, I had to go sit with some security there. Geez, how you treat the elders in your family. So that never happened, and I've got the 2 videos that I took and my wife took when we went. So we started filming 10 minutes before we got to the event, and then we had to leave early, so we were still filming as we left the event. We didn't stay for the whole thing, and at no point did we get up and talk to anybody because we weren't there long enough. Jennifer was talking. The only time I spoke is when she said, "Hey, does anybody have any questions?" At the first meeting on September 28th, I got up and I asked a question. I was very brief about it. A lot of people did a lot of monologuing, for minutes and minutes. You can look at it at Big Island Video News. And then I asked a brief question, how do these laws retroactively apply if they didn't exist at the time of annexation? And then she spoke, and then David Tsai spoke. And they said it was a great question. And then the next time, instead of wasting time like everybody else was doing, I typed out all my questions beforehand. I brought them with me to Jennifer. I gave them to Jennifer. And I said, hey, if anybody wants a copy, they're right here. And I didn't even ask a single question. I just asked if I could set my stack of papers there that had some, questions and disputes about the history that David Tsai spoke about at the last meeting. So I was really there to meet David Tsai. I didn't talk to anybody else. I did talk to David Tsai. I did talk to Jennifer Ruggles on the first meeting. And then I talked to Jennifer Ruggles for like 10 seconds on the second meeting. Nobody else, and we have video proof of it. So then she says, sovereignty is not about race, it's about Hawaiian Kingdom, which is and always was multiracial. It is the 1839 Declaration of Rights and Constitution, and for your information, there was no slavery. Yes, that's historically provable, and a slave made it to those shores any time they were automatically free, men and women. Okay, so they don't know who the Kuva was, the K-A-U-W-A. I posted my reasons and sources, so, if you would disagree what that word means, I would say most Hawaiian language teachers would disagree with you because kuva means slave, or the lowest class that was used as either slaves or human sacrifices. Now, if I'm wrong, I would love to see the facts. Kamehameha schools, the score stems from, at the time, brand new school in Kula and Maui, where I lived at the time. The boy was denied an application. No, he wasn't. He was accepted. Just read the court documents. He was accepted. Kamehameha schools brought him in, and then they saw that he was Caucasian, and he actually was expelled the first day of school. He went to the first day of school, and they expelled him. Look at the court documents. You can't make this stuff up. Changed enrollment policy. Okay. I just want to see the proof. I want to see the sources. People can say a lot of things, but I just want to see the actual facts. I want to see the law. I could keep going correcting your tirade, but I won't because I have my own points to go research and find out for yourself the truth. I've done a lot of research, and I'll continue. I would just, if you want to explain something to me that's factual, give me a source because I really want to verify it. I'm sick of being called a racist. One guy who didn't wear a mask inside Malama Market came straight at my parked car in front and the door complaining to me. I told him, there's a store that's there, right? So shoot somewhere else. He calls me a racist and walks across parking lot screaming. I looked at the disabled Kapuna and brought to the store. She outburst laughing. Anyone who personally knows me is probably laughing right now too. I am going to tell you that you can spread it to your friends. The America caused this. That's right. They brought the racism and put it right there into their laws where they illegally park their bodies at Iolani Palace and help the Marines and their Gatling guns. This is the land of aloha. You people promoting your guns are the ones promoting violence, hatred, and people. No matter how many tattoo you put on yourself, hatred of the Kanaka Maoli shows every time that you have hated in your heart. You can't help it. Well, I'm asking questions. You're making accusations that aren't true, and I can prove, and that's what I'm going to go do right now. So if you're going to make accusations about me following you around and pushing politics on you, get one of the many people who filmed it there to show that actually happening. That never happened. I've got the whole video from the time, almost from the time I left my house till the time I arrived, till the time I left. The whole thing is one steady stream on my wife's camera, and most of it's on my camera. And I posted it too, so you can see it. We didn't stay the whole meeting either. We arrived late, we left early, because we had other things to do. We have a bunch of kids. So I never had time to talk to anybody but Jen Ruggles and David Tsai at either of those meetings. And I went to both. So when she said she's sick of being called racist, I said, I can't apologize for him, but I'm sorry you think I am somehow responsible. How am I responsible? So this was, 28 minutes ago. I responded right after her. She hasn't responded yet, so I suppose we will have to agree to disagree on something. I think the facts that I have presented speak for themselves. I would be willing to learn if you have sources and good facts to review. Sovereignty is not about race, she says. Oh, this is her comment. Sovereignty is not about race, about the Hawaiian Kingdom, Declaration of Rights, and so on and so forth. So she said, and I said about harassing Jennifer at the event, I have both incidents recorded in the full from the time I arrived until the time I left. Big Island News recorded the first one, so did I. And this is part of my second one. My wife has the full-length video. My wife also captured it while she was there, partly for this. This is 30-something minutes of it right here. And I was only there for like 37 minutes, so we cut off some because it's incriminating, but we have the full length, just, private. So it says, and it's incriminating because I was driving while talking. It could be incriminating because it looked like I was driving while, something was holding the phone, possibly myself. But my wife was there and it was her, so that's my story and I'm sticking to it. But I don't want to post that unless it's absolutely necessary in court because it could be incriminating and I'm just done. I don't want to go that direction. But I can prove it, and I have proven most of it right here. I never spoke to anybody else but Jennifer Ruggles and David Tsai the entire time I was there, outside of my wife, and I have plenty of video evidence. Both meetings are fully recorded. And I said, I'm just making a PDF out of this, letting you know to cease and desist. That's all I have to say. I posted this on my own page. I'll post this on my own page since I am referenced, and it is public. It's public domain if it's public. And I said, I have never ever met Jennifer Ruggles at any time outside of her duties as a county councilwoman. Both times I ever met her, the events were filmed by a dozen sources. I filmed it, and my wife filmed it, and I'm sure others did as well. None of what you are claiming is true. I take defamation very seriously. And then this is another one. This is where I quoted myself. And I said, I was at Jennifer Ruggles' meeting with my wife, and we both recorded the entire event on both of our phones. I actually live streamed it from the time I got out of my car until the time I got back in my car. I said, in fact, I recorded 10 minutes before I arrived at both events, before I got there. I have both of those too. But they may be incriminating since one looks like I was driving while holding the camera. So I don't want to post it unless it needs to go to court. But I suspect you will stop the cyber harassment. I don't want my house and address associated with some misunderstanding. And someone's writing right now, but nobody else has replied yet. So I'm done. It's already 16 minutes in. But this is the entire conversation. This is my response to false accusations and defamation and slander by Susan Rosier, or whatever her name is. Yeah. This is her posting my address, associating me with terrorists, she says. This is her words. And, probably taking pictures of my children, too. But then also claiming false things about me at the Jennifer Ruggles meeting. So